weather. It governs our world, bringing life, death, and destruction.
God damn it, go back.
We're fine.
Oh my God! It's drowning!
Wow. World's deadliest weather is back. Bigger and badder. This time we include deadly natural disasters.
One of the most terrifying moments of my life.
Featuring earth-shattering quakes.
Yo ahí vi pasar toda mi vida, pero yo pensé que ya no la iba a lograr.
I saw an entire building collapse.
It was like something out of a movie.
And volcanoes.
It looks like all of my wildest dreams.
Using people's extraordinary self-shot footage.
We're gonna die, dude! We gotta get out of here! Mason, get away from the windows now!
And their death-defying stories.
I remember instantly thinking, I just watched her die.
I had to turn on my inner stunt driver and just get out of there quick.
I thought I was gonna burn alive.
We go eyeball to eyeball with Mother Nature.
It's crazy! It's crazy! Come on!
And witness up close
Get on there!
the all-consuming power of the elements.
The mountain was coming to get us.
Flash right there! This place is just hell.
It was just horrific.
I had never in my life experienced anything like that.
Everybody take cover! Now!
Coming up in this episode, South Africa is hit by a double whammy of storms and raging fire.
It just combusted, it just exploded. The whole nation just caught fire.
A violent earthquake rocks New Zealand and spreads terror.
Such a big earthquake, I was not expecting to get out of that alive.
Oh my God.
And a journalist turns into the story during a catastrophic mudslide.
That's when the flash floodwaters hit me, and it boom, right in my face.
Cape Town, South Africa, June 7th, 2017. Warnings of an exceptional storm heading for the coast have been reported over the last couple of days. It promised to be a lead story for journalist Aaron Hyman.
Our job doesn't really bring us into contact with extreme weather at all in South Africa. We were expecting it to be the mother of all storms. They were talking about 12-meter swells in the sea. They were talking about 120-kilometer winds. We could just see something big coming. You could feel it.
Cape storm that we've all been waiting for has made landfall.
As the wind started building up its intensity and we started getting reports of trees collapsing, my neighborhood's power went out.
We've had reports, many structures destroyed, roofs ripped off, no localized flooding as yet.
We were getting all sorts of reports about destruction along the coast, and we thought, well, let's go to the breakwater near the waterfront. And you could basically just see the swell growing and growing.
Oh, this is going to be a biggie.
By the time we got there, it was just pounding the coast. The sea foamed, and these huge waves, these foam waves were crashing over and like pushing cars to the side of the road. We saw at least 2 accidents where people just like kind of meandered or drove into each other because they were mesmerized by the storm.
As you can see, the coast is being battered by waves. So far, we have about 8 fatalities confirmed in the Western Cape. Communities all along the coast are left homeless.
It was a once-in-a-century storm kind of thing. Cape Town is quite a large, flat place except for the mountains. There was a lot of flooding reported in the township. I had to move them because they were underwater. And if I recall, it was hundreds, if not thousands of people.
Around 800 homes were washed out from the floods. But for a city that's regularly buffeted by strong winds, none compared to those seen during the 40th annual Cape Town Cycle Tour. Londoner Tashia Pillay flew straight into this tempest.
I'm in love with cycling, so I've done loads of cycle races, competitive cycling, triathlons. I was incredibly fit and incredibly strong, and my plan was to absolutely smash it at the Cape Town Cycle Tour. So I was so excited. My sister and her husband had flown down from Johannesburg, so they'd come to watch me race. I was just on top of the world, really, and really wanted to get a good time. Day before, we got an email from the organizers saying that there were strong winds expected. We still thought we'd do the race. So the plan was to meet friends at 6:15. One of my friends and I drove to the race, and as we were driving, you could feel the car swaying in the wind. It's only when we got to the start did we realize the severity of the wind. Tried to take our bikes out the boot, and the bike just flew in the air.
Wow, this is the start of the Cape Town cycle. The most horrendous wind.
That's when we saw people with their bikes just being almost like blown off the road. I had never in my life experienced anything like that. It almost felt like you were in some sort of hurricane. The wind was so strong and everyone was standing by the sides of the buildings. Just trying to walk across the road and you were literally just almost blown off the road. And then I realized there is no way in hell I was getting on a bike and doing any cycling. You would have been killed.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Cape Town Cycle Tour has been stopped.
It's like just horrendous. We can barely walk. So no chance we're going to be cycling today. I've come all the way from London to do it, so I'm kind of disappointed, but rather be safe.
Later, the Cape Storm takes an unexpected twist with devastating consequences.
With the massive strong winds and these perfect dry conditions, the storm, instead of bringing water to Cape Town, it brought fire. It just combusted, it just exploded.
It became one of the worst natural disasters in South Africa's history.
All you see was orange, the fire and the heat. If you get stuck there, you're gonna get caught in fire.
When it comes to deadly weather phenomena, the poor old storm gets downplayed. According to meteorological guidelines, a storm is only generated when sustained winds reach between 55 and 63 miles per hour, which is force 10 on the Beaufort scale. As is the case in Serbia, as these guys nervously watch an evil-looking front move in. As winds start to shake trees violently, they take to heel and run for shelter. Which is a wise decision. As winds tear down branches and threaten to blow the house down, it proves no storm in a teacup. Staying in the Balkans. In Romania, when a storm brews, it doesn't do things by half measures. In 1 hour, it went from warm and sunny to this. Thunderstorm clouds can bubble up to an astonishing 20,000 feet. And this one's loaded with hail, which makes driving particularly nerve-wracking. Sensibly, everyone pulls over, as this is one time it definitely pays not to ride out a storm. In Vietnam, storms can literally take people's breath away, and their motorcycles. When winds reach 64 to 73 miles per hour, it's termed a violent storm. Beyond that, it's a hurricane. And this one's definitely heading towards that territory. One storm rider ignores his fallen comrades and cries of alarm as he bravely takes on the tempest. But alas, he's forced to abandon his precious wheels to the bike graveyard and get the hell out of Dodge. Over in Las Vegas, USA, the summer weather is generally extremely hot and stable. But when a storm breaks, it's a proper Vegas showstopper. With winds raging at 70 miles per hour, the trash cans are blowing around like confetti. Driving in these conditions can only be described as one hell of a gamble. Finally, the British are used to a good blow. When Eileen, the fifth storm of the 2017-18 season, battered her shores. Gusts of up to 100 miles per hour wreaked havoc and left tens of thousands of homes without power. But for Irish footballer Ian O'Connor, it proves the perfect opportunity to showcase his boomerang goal kick. A perfect execution. New Zealand, the land of the long white cloud and ring of fire, derived from its position on a seismically volatile fault line. Each year, this tiny nation shudders from a staggering 15,000 earthquakes. At midnight, on the 14th of November 2016, student Michael Spratt was with mates in a Wellington city apartment when the earth began to move.
I was in the bathroom and the hand towel that was on the sink started swaying and I had no idea what it was. And in my head, I actually did think that I was hallucinating.
Oh my God, guys.
In the kitchen, we had a light that was suspended, so it was on a wire, so that's, of course, going to be the first thing that you see to move. As I was recording, I was running as fast as I possibly could to the door, but because it was midnight, the door was locked, and I couldn't unlock the door because of how much we were moving.
Michael was caught in a 7.8 magnitude earthquake, the biggest to strike Wellington in 161 years.
People describe them in New Zealand as a train coming through your front living room. I just can't believe how noisy it is.
Oh.
Just hearing every single window possible crack. It doesn't compare to any other sound I've heard. This was such a big earthquake, I did think that the building was just going to completely fall down. I was not expecting to get out of that alive.
The earthquake rumbled for almost 10 terrifying minutes, ransacking Michael's apartment.
Every single joint in the apartment had split. The lines going up and down the walls were just everywhere. The bedroom was a mess. There was 2 lamps on either side of the bed. When we went back in, they were at this wall. So they'd literally been thrown about 4 or 5 meters this way. In the kitchen, the fridge was moved out. The TV was flung about 2 meters from where it should be, and the French dresser that just completely went across the room.
The TV's okay, but the whole French dresser's just smashed to bits.
I wanted to talk to my dad, my mum, my sister, my grandma, and my phone actually died when I was outside, and I just broke down in tears. I thought it was centred in Wellington, but then when we realised that it was actually in a different island, it was about 100, 200 kilometres away from us, I was like, there's going to be nothing left down there.
The epicentre of the massive quake was located in New Zealand's South Island, near the coastal town Kaikoura.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
There, Jackson Lidgard was shaken awake by the sheer force of it.
When I woke up, everything was shaking, really. And then it got even bigger, so we ran outside, and then it got even bigger again. It did feel kind of like the world was ripping itself apart. All you could hear was just rocks rolling around in the hills.
It was such a mind-blowing experience. The next morning, Jackson decided to survey his transformed neighbourhood.
When I left and went onto the highway, I was intrigued to see what was out there, and it was an exciting but also scary adventure. There was rocks along the coastline there that were sitting on the road that were the size of probably like a small-sized truck. Huge piles of dirt covering the road. I think I counted 4 or 5 major slips. Meters and meters high, huge boulders just strewn across the road. It was just crazy in some spots, you couldn't even see where the road used to go. At one point there was a divot in the road that was probably half my body height from where a rock had bounced. There was points where I walked across the railway line that went down off where the road used to be, lay across the beach and then back up, but all the sleepers and rail was all still attached. So it was like a bridge for me to walk around the slip. And also I found one train tunnel that had snapped in half, which was probably the scariest moment of the trip, because I was in the middle of a train tunnel and all of a sudden there's a big pile of rubble and wires hanging down. So I climbed over that and ran out the rest of the tunnel.
Incredibly, the 2016 earthquake shunted parts of Kaikoura's coastline up by almost 20 feet, wrecking an offshore reef and decimating marine species. As for Jackson, witnessing the power of Mother Nature up close and personal has been life-changing.
Earthquakes now feel you're a lot more scary. You'll be sitting somewhere, even like in the library, and the floor will shake just by someone walking past, and it'll make you just kind of tense up and start evaluating whether it's going to turn into a big shake and whether you have to run.
As we all know, when wild, Mother Nature can be merciless, sparing nothing and no one, old and young.
Straight on down. Go for it. Come on.
In Idaho, US, after a heavy snowfall, this pair are enjoying some special father and son time.
Nice. Hit the jump. Hit it. Hit it. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo.
The kid successfully negotiates the jump, but a more sinister trap is ready to gobble him up.
Ethan! You okay? Ethan!
Even the lightest powder snow is incredibly dense, and survival rates plummet after 50 minutes being buried.
That's okay, it's okay. Here we go, here we go. Here we go. I got you. Where's your glove? Where's your glove? Where's your glove? Okay. You okay? Okay, okay. Okay. Hang on, hang on, hang on. Be safe, be safe.
It's an important lesson that even fluffy snow can't be taken for granted.
I've had a near-death experience. Yeah.
Next, extreme heat in Colorado has affected this girl's judgment. As a dangerous dive goes painfully wrong. This took place in Paradise Cove, but for her, it will feel like hell. Incredibly, she's expected to make a full recovery. If you think that's shocking, this 12-year-old boy in Argentina is putting himself in peril as thunder rumbles ominously around him. Apart from a massive fright, he was okay, but all the house's electrical appliances were fried. On a blustery day in Lyndhurst, Ohio, this young girl's eagerness to get home and out of the wind almost spells disaster. This is a swing door on steroids. But what's more impressive, despite the door catapulting open, she clings onto Mum's cell phone.
Oh my God.
These lads have just moved from Texas to New England and are reveling in a new treat, snow.
Oh my God.
Straight away, they make a rookie mistake of targeting the terrace drop-offs. Despite the crash landing and Mum's obvious concern, it doesn't put them off until...
Oh my God! Oh my God! You took out a plane, bro! Oh my God!
That'll teach him not to beat about the bush.
You took out the bush! You killed him!
Still to come, a powerful cyclone traps a volcanologist for 3 days next to a combustible volcano.
This place is just hell. Gas-filled hell.
And a journalist is taken on a frightening crash course by a raging torrent of mud.
And all that was going through my head was, Christ, I better hang on.
Earlier, we saw how in 2017, Cape Town was besieged by the mother of all storms.
We've had reports, many structures destroyed, roofs ripped off. Communities all along the coast are left homeless.
But there was one hopeful silver lining in the dark clouds. Cape Town was in the midst of its worst ever drought, with water expected to run out in May 2018. But rather than relieving this, the storm sparked something far worse. Reporter Aaron Hyman was on call for the escalating catastrophe.
This was actually the first storm for the rain season, and it came very late. People were hoping a lot of wind, big swells, surely we're going to get a lot of rain. It turned out to be very little rain with the massive strong winds and these perfect dry conditions. The storm, instead of bringing water to Cape Town, it brought fire.
Whipped up by 70 miles per hour winds, it quickly became South Africa's worst ever inferno. Consuming an area of 100 square miles around the town of Knysna, 300 miles east of Cape Town.
It just combusted, it just exploded. The whole Knysna just caught fire.
Caught up in this apocalyptic firestorm was Knysna resident Romeo Dutoit, one of thousands facing life or death emergencies.
I remember the morning when I left with my dad. We were driving down the road, like just leaving the house. And my dad was driving, so his phone rang. So it's my mom phoning. And she said, the fire is here. There's a fire, like literally it's on our property. Like, you guys need to get here now. And my mom was like crying and screaming and trying to find the cats. I've never had a phone call like that. When you hear someone like screaming like that, like a life's about to end. And we were pretty far from home, but we had to drive through town to get to where we live on the mountain. and I saw the smoke. And it's starting to get like dark because of the smoke. And I told my dad, listen, yeah, if you're not gonna drive fast now, I will kick you out of this truck and I will drive. Like, you better move. On the way towards our house, they started blocking off the roads.
By the turn of there, it's all blocked off again. It's completely under fire.
And I remember getting to the front of the roadblock. And then the cop was like, stop, stop, stop. He's like, you can't go. You can see what it looks like. My mom is right there. I'm going. All you see was orange, the fire and the heat. You could feel. I remember feeling the heat, like in the truck. Like it's literally like if you get stuck there, you're gonna get caught in fire. So when we stopped in front of our driveway, and we just hooted. Like 2 seconds later, I see my mom running out of the one door with like the one catting like a bag, like pushed her in. I don't know how we made it back down. You can't see anything, it's just fire. More people running out of their houses, screaming for help. I went and helped them, like getting sheep out of their properties. It was just crazy, 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 crazy. We sat at the safe spot for like 4 hours, like just watching everything. Eventually, like the fire started dying around the area where we live. So my dad said, come, let's quickly go check. Maybe we can see our house from the side, if it burned down or not. And I remember like running up, like, and all of a sudden I see once again the property, and there's the house. It's actually standing.
Thank you guys. Really appreciate it.
I mean, a lot of places around us burned down. All around us, our neighbor's house, the people next to us, right next to our property, it was a little village. There was 12 houses on there, all 12 of them, boom, just gone.
In all, there were over 20 major fires across the Cape region that raged for 4 days. 10,000 people were displaced, over 1,000 homes destroyed. Inevitably, the people who could least afford it were the worst affected.
The places that were the most vulnerable were these informal communities which have been there for centuries. The fire just decimated their buildings. There was nothing they could do. In the midst of this kind of post-apocalyptic environment where a lot of people essentially came down from the hill where they've lost their houses and were now homeless, they were coming to seek aid. They were evacuated because the fire had basically surrounded them. So it was tragic for them. They lost a lot and they don't have a lot to lose. To them, it's a disaster of unimaginable proportion.
In the end, it took 1,000 firefighters, 78 fire engines, and 6 military helicopters to bring the Cape Inferno under control. The eventual cleanup bill costing over $300 million.
I think the Cape Storm will probably be remembered as the biggest relief effort in South African history. You still have smoldering trees, you still have a massive cleanup effort, you still have many people who are destitute. It was absolutely, absolutely devastating. It was massive.
In the South Pacific lies the remote island of Ambrim, home to a world-famous active volcano. In February 2017, volcanologist Chris Horsley was planning a month-long expedition there.
I run and manage expeditions that access volcanoes. I probably led more descents into a volcano than anyone else on the planet. So it's really crazy for a 26-year-old to be able to do that.
On this particular trip, Chris was guiding some amateur enthusiasts. But as it was off-season, there was an element of danger.
We had some private clients who wanted to come along to see the volcano. There's nothing on the planet like this. It's beautiful rainforest that leads up to this black, barren landscape. And as you look over the edge, there's a drop of 400 meters to the world's most active lava lake, and it's just churning away.
Oh yeah, wow.
There's a place that you want to go and see magma, the core of the Earth, like a porthole into the planet. We did know that this is a kind of bad season to be going to the top of a volcano in the South Pacific. I mean, it's cyclone season, so it had its risks from the start. But we're always optimists, and we hope for the best, and we went for it.
So we made it to Marham Summit. We just got the stuff carried up today by some porters.
We managed to get to the volcano, and it all went pretty smoothly. And we set up for a month-long expedition. But we started to hear a little rumble in the background, and we realised that there was a storm.
Keeping their safety in mind, the clients were evacuated to the bottom of the mountain, while Chris remained to look after all the gear.
I've got one tent, and I'm spending the night up here alone with some very high winds.
I was optimistic, and I thought, well, as long as I've got food and water and a shelter, we can get through this. It'll be okay. I mean, I've been up there in severe conditions before. We had little indication about what was actually moving in, and strangely, it was two weather systems that were moving past each side of the island, and it was supposed to remove all the cloud, and we were going to have a weather window. It actually worked in an opposite effect, and really gave us a rough ride. Little did I know it was a 4-day storm moving in with a north wind direction, so that means there's a full gas cloud of a volcano pushed over a camp. And that brings acid rain.
As the storm rolled in, it whipped up winds of almost 100 miles per hour. More deadly were clouds of sulfur that rots both lungs and equipment.
This place is just hell. Gas-filled hell.
Trapped in this hellhole, Chris's life depended on his canvas tent holding out against the storm.
So I've started to pack up my things into my emergency bag. Knife, head torch, whistle.
When the storm didn't move, and it progressively got worse and worse, and there was 2 meters visibility outside, lightning strikes grounding all around, which is pretty scary, especially if you're in a tent on your own on a summit. There's little things that really mean the world to you right there. I mean, shelter, food, and water. These things are your life. And for me, it was my tent.
I've got a protective cover on my tent, but it could rip through that.
Without the tent, most certainly, it would have been over for me.
I've got these 2 drums in here. These are full of our ropes and radio supplies, but they're actually anchoring the tent to the ground. If it wasn't for them, this tent would take off.
I mean, that was my lifeline. That was all I had at that time.
Okay, this is starting to get bad. It's flipped a 20-litre water container off the edge of my tent, and now it's starting to rip the cover apart. So I'm just gonna have to go outside and fix it.
You can really dwell on a bad situation. There's nothing to distract me from it. Just being stuck in the elements by yourself, you learn a lot about yourself and what you can deal with. My method is not to think about it whatsoever and pretend that it's not happening, and then it all seems to be fine.
But after 3 long days and nights being battered by the elements, Chris began to crack.
I'm on top of a volcano, on my own.
On your own in a tent, you do start to realise how weird you are.
I think that was an owl.
Thinking about the weirdest of things.
Either that or a flying fox.
And also overthinking certain situations, and your mind becomes your own worst enemy.
After over 70 hours of the worst physical and mental hammering of his life, the tropical cyclone finally dissipated.
So today has been our first clear day in a while. It was kind of this mad dart to get off that mountain as soon as I possibly could. So we've started our retreat down the volcano. The sense of relief to just get down, it was like, right, a cup of coffee, kind of a proper bed, a stretcher, and that was a really welcome feeling. There's very few places on this planet that you can see nature at its most aggressive. Having that much thrown at me and dealing with it essentially by myself in a tent, it taught me a lot. I think this was just another element that's made me appreciate this volcano even more.
Sometimes the weather is so weird and unfathomable, we're left scratching our heads in wonderment. So we're going to get all Sherlock Holmes on the weather and unravel some of nature's biggest mysteries. In Russia, this man is left totally bemused by this strange UFO-like glowing orb hovering on the horizon. In fact, this is an extremely rare phenomenon called ball lightning. Scientists believe this is from leftover energy ions that are swept into a dense ball after a lightning strike. Whatever, it's certainly electrifying. In the desert landscape in Turkmenistan, the temperatures can reach a scorching 50 degrees Celsius. Hotter still is this freakish crater with a fire seemingly burning out of thin air. This blazing hole, known as the door to hell, was created in 1971 when a natural gas field collapsed into an underground cavern. It was set alight to prevent the spread of eggy-smelling methane gas. No wonder he's groaning. While in Kentucky, USA, is this the latest crackpot invention from the Deep South? A lawn waterbed? Sadly, for all you lounge lizards, it's not. Instead, it's the result of intense 2-hour rainfall infiltrating the ground, causing a turf blister. And, a bit like a human blister when you pop it, putrid liquid pours out. This truly surreal sight on the frozen Liao River in northeast China was captured by a drone. It's triggered when the edges begin to melt. Instead of water dropping straight down, it twists, creating a vertical vortex, a bit like the spiral down a plug hole. As the disc rotates, the ice grinds into a perfect circle. But be warned, even fun ice merry-go-rounds can be deadly.
It's like a circle of rainbow in the sky. I hope it does a full circle.
Finally, no video trickery has been used to display this inverted rainbow spotted in Buffalo, New York. It literally appears to be flouting the laws of science and nature. But to understand this, one must look beyond rainbows. In fact, this is a meteorological phenomenon called circumzenithal, a fancy word for sunlight refracting through ice crystal. And with that, our weather cases are cracked. Well done, Sherlock. Holmes, my dear fellow, it's elemental. Colorado Springs, a city nestled at the foot of the Rockies mountain range. It's midsummer 2013, and in the nearby foothills, local journalist John Stroyer was checking out a possible news lead.
Normal day at work, and all of a sudden we got word that there was a flash flood warning. And so I started driving up there to go take a look and see if I could get any footage. I was on Highway 24 just barely west of Manitou Springs, and there was basically a traffic jam. A lot of cars were just stopped in the middle of the road, and I thought there might have been rockfall or something blocking the highway. So I pulled off to the side of the road to get my camera, and had no warning. That's when the flash floodwaters hit me, and boom, right in my face.
John was the unwitting victim of a deadly trap. A year earlier, the massive Waldo Canyon wildfire had burnt vast swathes of mountainside. These scarred, baked earth slopes allowed rainfall to run off unchecked, accumulating into the devastating flash flood now threatening his life.
When the water hit, it literally picked my car up, turned it 180 degrees around.
Oh my God.
And it just started sweeping me back down the hill.
Oh my God.
It was very, very muddy, full of branches and debris. I was in some kind of shock, and all that was going through my head was, Christ, I better hang on.
Oh my God.
Out of sheer stupid instinct, one of the things I started doing was trying to actually steer, which is obviously just ludicrous because it's not like a car is going to be able to steer while it's floating in water. There's a cliffside, bounced off that a couple of times. That was probably the biggest physical danger that I was in.
Oh my God. Wow.
Felt like forever. Felt like it was going on forever.
My car is totaled. My car just got totaled.
The car finally came to rest just literally on the side of the road on a bed of dirt and sediment. It was a really intense experience.
I can't believe this. I can't believe this.
I think I sat in my car for maybe half an hour, roughly. Eventually just rolled down the window and climbed out onto the roof. At that point, then it was just a complete mess because of all the debris and rocks and logs and branches and wrecked cars that were blocking the highways.
Ironically for newshound John, who was chasing a story, he was about to become the story.
I tweeted out a photo of my car, like sitting on the side of the road, wrecked. I didn't expect to start getting interview requests, but as soon as I sent that tweet out, they started pouring in almost immediately.
It turned into John's 15 minutes of fame, with star turns on CNN, Fox News, and the Weather Channel.
This idiotic incident of me getting caught in a flash flood has gotten me far more attention than any of the really, in my opinion, excellent work I've done as a journalist. It cracks me up that this video of me wrecking my car is going to be one of the things that I'm most well known for.
We all know that sometimes when we take on Mother Nature at her own game, we can make a bit of a fool of ourselves. So, in recognition of this, World's Deadliest Weather is staging its very own Olympics bloopers. First up is this crew from France competing in sailing. As they approach this bridge, they've got their ropes and themselves in a right tangle. That's one way to shiver your timbers. These able seamen are a worthy entry into our Bloopers Hall of Fame. Next, we head off to the diving arena for this well-built chap, sporting a mankini.
This is how you really do a summer dive.
Oh my God.
With a sight like that, I'm not surprised the baby's bawling its eyes out. Just missing out on a medal place is this reckless guy. In Hawaii, he's taking on giant 15-foot rollers capable of pounding him to a pulp. Winded and dazed, his foolishness is only compounded by the obvious warning. Our bronze medalist comes in high diving. An inch out, and he would be carted off on the blood wagon. But fair play, he pulls off this high-degree difficulty dive. But it does cost him the power of speech.
Leave it. Leave it. Leave it, mina damer och herrar.
Romping home in silver place is this man competing in ski jumping.
Are you okay?
Rumor has it, this is Eddie the Eagle, planning a comeback. Our undisputed gold medalist comes in the new Olympic sport of golf. Even if you've never picked up a golf club, you can see this is plain crazy. And sure enough, he's rewarded by a chilling hole-in-one. Our worthy champion. In this episode, we've seen Mother Nature snarl with fury. We've seen how helpless we can be. We've seen her tear down, destroy, and laugh in our faces. And next time, there will be more. Because deadly weather stops for no one. The weather. It governs our world, bringing life, death, and destruction.
God damn it, go back. You're fine.
Oh my God! It's drowning!
Wow. World's deadliest weather is back. Bigger and badder. This time we include deadly natural disasters.
One of the most terrifying moments of my life.
Featuring earth-shattering quakes.
Yo ahí vi pasar toda mi vida. Pero yo pensé que ya no la iba a lograr.
I saw an entire building collapse.
It was like something out of a movie.
And volcanoes.
It looks like all of my wildest dreams.
Using people's extraordinary self-shot footage.
We're gonna die, dude! We gotta get out of here! Mason, get away from the windows now!
And their death-defying stories.
I remember instantly thinking, I just watched her die.
I had to turn on my inner stunt driver and just get out of there quick.
I thought I was gonna burn alive.
We go eyeball to eyeball with Mother Nature.
Crazy! It's crazy! Come on!
And witness up close
Get on there!
the all-consuming power of the elements.
The mountain was coming to get us.
Flash right there! This place is just hell.
It was just horrific.
I had never in my life experienced anything like that.
Coming up in this episode, a monster hurricane blasts a Caribbean island paradise into smithereens.
Rain started to come down like biblical rain, and the wind just went nuclear.
Out in the wilderness, raging rapids engulf a novice hiker. And baseball-sized hailstones turn a family home into a battlefield.
Boom, boom, boom. Every time the hail hit, it was crazy.
Puerto Rico, Caribbean, September 2017. Just as the island was breathing a sigh of relief at a near miss with Category 5 Hurricane Irma, 12 days later, another monster hurricane called Maria loomed on the horizon. And this one was set to score a bullseye. Downtown in the capital, San Juan, student Laura Marrero was preparing for Armageddon.
Jesus, Mom. Why do you have so many plants?
This time we're getting directly hit by the thing. Like, the eye is gonna go right over us. It just went from Category 1 to Category 5, like this. I have to get some last-minute groceries for whatever outcome we go through. It was more stressful because there wasn't very much supplies left after Hurricane Irma. You know, everything got sold out. All right, so I just got the groceries, and they literally just closed everything, and they're like escorting people out of this little parking lot. There's like not a single wind. If you look at the trees, they're like almost perfectly still, which is obviously unusual. I'm not gonna lie, I am nervous.
While Laura was fearing the worst, in the eastern coastal resort of Humacao, where Maria was due to make landfall, storm chaser Josh Morgaman was in a high state of anticipation.
As a storm chaser, the curiosity side, it always just edges out the fear by just a hair, and that's why I go for it. That's why I chase. And once in a while when I go on a chase, I have this feeling, this one's gonna be big. And Maria was saying that to me. There was just this sense of something's coming. I chose a 4-story solid concrete hotel that I felt would protect me and that would stay up in those violent hurricane winds. Just in the last half hour or so, the wind started to get kind of a real tug to it. Branches are coming off the trees, and the communications are starting to get dicey. You know, when I look on the radar, I can see we're just gonna get much worse from here.
As Josh braced himself for a full-on battering, 35 miles away, on the outskirts of San Juan, Laura was at home with her mum, watching conditions steadily deteriorate.
Whoa. The wind is blowing against my window right now, and like it just keeps getting worse and worse, and it's really scary. Now I can't sleep because of these gasps. I was freaked out. I was trying to fall back asleep, but I couldn't. Every 30 seconds, a big whoosh would come towards my window, and I was like startled by it. I was like, I don't know what to do. And that's where I grabbed my camera and I started recording. Because the more I kept documenting the whole development of the storm, the better I felt because I distracted myself from what was going on.
By now, the hurricane's eye wall, the band with the most destructive winds, was sweeping over the island. Even though Maria had dissipated to Category 4, she still brought life-threatening 155-mile-per-hour winds.
We went downstairs, And when we opened the doors, like all this rain and all this wind was like hitting the door. I was freaked out. Mom had to scream because it was really noisy outside. Whoa. My mom, she was very afraid. She's very religious, so she was holding a rosary like this, like the whole time. Any little wind, any little gap, she's like freaking out. The wind's in the water, we're gonna come in the house, we're gonna have total loss, we're gonna have to evacuate.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Something just fell on the roof. It just was like a big boom.
I just tried to like block it out because if I let my mom's fear get into me,
It's okay.
I wasn't gonna be able to, get through it.
Oh my God.
Later, as Hurricane Maria winds herself up to full fury, storm chaser Josh has to rescue a family in dire trouble.
The whole building was vibrating. The windows were rattling like crazy. And I realized we were in trouble.
And Laura sees her once beautiful island transformed into apocalyptic hell.
Oh my God. This storm had no mercy.
A stealthy, invisible weapon in Mother Nature's armory is wind. When warm air rises, the pressure on Earth's surface is low. As cold air sinks, the pressure is high. It's the flow of air from one to the other that causes wind. In the Philippines, Typhoon Jelawat is the strongest cyclone of the 2012 season, with winds up to 160 miles per hour. Too much for this car that's tossed around like a rag doll. A rare instance of air deploying airbags. While over at Nanchang International Airport in China, the only liftoff should be by planes. But as strong winds huff and puff, they blow the roof off. Miraculously, everyone survived this assault. But for Terminal 2's steel awning, it proved terminal. If our cars and buildings can't withstand the strongest winds, how are us mere mortals expected to cope? Badly, as it turns out. In Russia, Siberian blasts hurtle shoppers headlong into a big snowdrift. Just to prove that's no fluke, the wily wind snares another hapless victim. Finally, this extreme force of nature can even invert nature itself. As demonstrated by this waterfall, or should I say water rise, in Norway. The irresistible power of wind forcing cascading water upwards. Gravity defying spookiness. Experienced hiker Chase Davidson loves nothing better than heading off-grid on the best trails nature can offer.
I just really like the freedom and being away from civilization. Being in the mountains, you don't have people around you and you just hear like the birds chirping and you never know what you're gonna come across when you're hiking.
Back in June 2017, Chase planned a trip to the Canadian Rockies, a rugged area of savage beauty near the city of Calgary. Invited along was best friend Corey Shuker for his first taste of wilderness adventure.
It was a beautiful day, like the sun was shining, just me and my friend, like about to have a great time.
Me and Corey, we just made it out to the Lake of the Hanging Glacier Recreation Trail in British Columbia. Boom. Here we go, overnight, 9K one way. Got all our gear, expecting to get there in a few hours.
I just remember like walking through one part and I looked over Chase's shoulder and all I seen was like a bear like hop and turn around and I seen his little tail like just wiggling away.
Just came across our first wildlife, but there is a boot. I like seeing the boot next to the bear. Actually, they're facing off each other. Hopefully, everyone's all right in that situation.
It was not a little bear. It was a really big bear. And like, I was like shocked and I was like, oh my God, I just seen a bear.
While the presence of grizzlies hungry from hibernation was intimidating, a bigger threat was melting snow and ice.
All right, so we came to our first stream here. So it's a small one.
They were warned to be especially careful of hell-roaring creek that had swollen into dangerous rapids.
We're doing this!
When I got to Hell-Roaring Creek, I could hear a lot of rapids like right next to me as we were walking up the trail.
The speed of the water, it was fast for sure. We thought that the bridge was going to be in place to cross over. My initial reaction was like, no way, we're not going to be able to do this. And that's when we noticed a small anodized steel going across with the rope already attached.
You okay? Go slow.
Both of us debated whether it's worth risking it, and Corey was confident that he could do it.
All right, buddy.
The water temperatures were just barely above freezing. Within seconds, your feet were numb. Each step you took, although you felt that you had grip, you could feel it pushing into the bottom of your feet and having to lean your weight against the rope that's over top of the falls.
Hey! Corey!
As I see Chase got across, I felt a lot more at ease, and I was like, okay, Chase got across, I definitely got this. Like, I know I could get across it.
One step at a time!
One thing I didn't mention to him was how to put your weight on a rope when crossing something like that, and also the distortion that you get in your head when you have water rushing one way on the bridge and you're walking straight.
I start walking, and I'm looking down, trying to watch my feet where I'm walking, and then I kind of like catch slack on the one side of the rope. And all I could think in my head was like, don't fall to the left, because if I fall to the left, I'm obviously going down those rapids. The rapids are so strong, it sucked me right to the bridge, and as soon as I hit the bridge, it like kind of knocked the wind out of me. I could hear like all of this water like rushing through my ears, and all I could think is like, I need to hang on.
I was able to get my hand on Corey's, but the rapids were just too strong. I thought I was losing like my best friend at that moment.
Got this! Got it! Pull! Pull, buddy! Pull! Pull! Use it! Use all your strength! Come on! Come on! Come on!
The water was freezing cold.
Get on there!
It took my breath away.
What? Come on! Come on!
I got so scared, but all I could think was like, oh my God, I need to get through this. I just hung on for my life.
Help! Come on! Come on! Come on! What? It's not on what? Hang on me!
And until I tried to move forward, I realized that I can't move forward. I'm stuck.
Help me! Help me!
Eventually, like, my one leg is like starting to fall back in the water as I'm trying to pull myself forward and tell Chase to pull me because I don't know what I'm stuck on. I had 2 bungee cords hooked up to my sleeping bag, and that actually got hooked on the piece of steel, and I couldn't physically pull myself all the way forward. Chase had to reach over and unhook the extension cord, unhook my backpack because I couldn't even slide out of my backpack, and he had to pull me to safety.
Once I loosened the backpack, he started sliding back in again, and that was another pretty emotional part of the experience.
You're on the ropes around you, the ropes around you.
I don't want to do it. I don't want to do anything. I want to go home, dude.
Okay. Okay.
All I could think was like, oh my God. And like, I was just in shock. Like, I couldn't believe what happened.
Okay. I got you. Okay.
I gave him the biggest hug, and I'm pretty sure I told him like how much I love him.
Breathe, buddy, breathe.
If it wasn't for him, I don't know if I'd be here today.
Let's get up there, go up there. Okay? Go, buddy.
He saved my life.
As both were heavily traumatized, they decided to turn back and head home. The only snag, that meant recrossing the lethal girder.
Wait, listen to me, listen. You have to push that one that way.
The biggest thing I've learned from this experience was don't assume that you know everyone's skill level. Always, no matter what, when you're out with people on the trail, make sure that everyone's on the same mindset.
Nice and easy, nice and easy. There you go.
That it changed me like in a more of a positive way to like look at life like you don't know when things will happen or what will happen. You just gotta, I have to live life like every day is the best day ever.
Sometimes when Mother Nature gives us a good clobbering, some of us use our initiative and resourcefulness to rise above the misery. In Croatia, after torrential rain, this man's shop is flooded. But rather than wallow in his misfortune, he sits back, relaxes, and barely lifts a finger, bailing water out of his shop. Although even he's trumped by his next-door neighbor. In New York State, East Northport has turned into the North Pole, thanks to a heavy blizzard.
G, let's go! G!
With transport on the verge of paralysis, this man goes Eskimo. And hitches up his huskies for a sleigh ride down the main drag.
Good thing no one's out today. Say visibility is about 50 meters.
That's one ingenious way to get your morning milk.
Good dogs.
In rather warmer climes, in Moscow, Russia, this guy has found a clever way to combine his two favorite pastimes, chilling out and surfing. And takes laid-back surfer dude to a new dimension. Back in the frozen wastes of Minnesota, US, this kid's drawn the short straw of shoveling up the snow. But, thinking on his feet, he's strapped his hoverboard to them. Now he has to barely move a muscle. But as we all know, even the best laid plans can come crashing down. When it comes to clearing snow, this man sensibly thinks 4 wheels is better than 2. Pimping his motorized mower with wood offcuts, he turns it into a ready-made snowplow. Brilliant. Just step on the gas and the yard's clear in snow time. Still to come.
Holy cow.
Supersized hail terrorizes a family, destroying their home around them.
Hail was coming from everywhere, and we were all just screaming.
and a cruel twist of fate puts a boat at the mercy of one of America's biggest storms.
This is probably the brunt of the storm. Right here at the window. Whoa!
Earlier, we saw how Major Hurricane Maria had scored a direct hit on the Caribbean island, Puerto Rico, leaving its residents literally shaking with fear. As Maria rapidly escalated, it was giving storm chaser Josh Morganman everything he bargained for and more.
By 5 a.m., the winds were just whipping full-on hurricane force, and there was constant banging and crashing sounds. It was a scary feeling because you just felt like, wow, you know, there's not a whole lot between me and those winds, just this ceiling and this roof. And in the middle of all that, I heard a knocking at the door. And I went and opened the door. It was my neighbors across the hall, a family, a mom and a grandma and a little kid. The wind had smashed all the windows in their room.
Kids, just get in there.
So they had this look of terror in their eyes. They had nowhere to go.
Go in here, it's safer. Go in there.
I gave my guests pillows because in a situation with flying glass, you can cover your face and your head, and it offers some protection. And then it just started to get light. You could start to see the outline of the trees and the hurricane winds just waving like crazy. And as dawn came and as the light came, you could see that the landscape had been shredded by these winds. Around 6:20 or so, I noticed that things started to calm down. And what I didn't realize was that the worst was actually just about to hit. Rain started to come down like just biblical rain, and the wind just went nuclear. The whole building was vibrating. The windows were rattling like crazy. And I realized we were in trouble.
While Josh clung on in the concrete hotel, over in the municipality of Canavanas, buildings of less sturdy construction were faring far worse. As a shocked Juan Domingo Velez saw firsthand.
A las 6 de la mañana me levanté. El viento se sentía demasiado muy fuerte. Era como un sonido de un animal, como el sonido de un lobo. Bien fuerte, bien fuerte. Yo dije, Dios mío, este huracán va a acabar con esta casa, y así mismo fue.
Ay, se me va encima.
Que cuando levanté el techo, yo dije, ay, Dios mío, se lo va a llevar. Pegó a jamaquear. Así a los 10 segundos, vi que el techo levantó y volvió y bajó. Y en la segunda, como ya cachó 30 segundos, le levantó el techo completo, se lo llevó. Había como un remolino y pegó a tumbar la casa, a tumbar las paredes, a tumbar todo lo que estaba dentro, lo destruyó. En menos de 35 segundos la destruyó.
Pobre Nelly, coño. Amigos, nuestra vecina ha pedido su casa. Dios mío, madre.
Le fui a mi vecina a decirle que su casa se había ido con el huracán. Se quedó llorando, ¿verdad? Gritando que se había quedado sin su casa. Emocionalmente uno se sentía triste, muy triste de verdad.
More than 3 hours after the eye of the storm passed over his hotel, Josh was seeing signs Hurricane Maria was releasing her deadly grip.
A little before maybe 8 a.m., slowly, the energy started to calm down, and I realized, okay, we've gotten through it. Hurricane Maria has passed, and it's left a lot of destruction in its wake. The winds here were ferocious. There's major damage to lots of roofs, to a ton of broken windows. Seems like every building and every house has broken windows. It looked like a bomb had been dropped on the town. The trees were just sticks. There was not a leaf on any tree. The landscape had just been scrubbed bare. In just a couple of hours, it was a horrible sight.
In a few hours, Hurricane Maria had wiped out the country's power, communications, infrastructure, and up to 250,000 properties. For lifelong resident Laura, seeing her once beautiful island home destroyed was heartbreaking.
Oh, thank God. I was really worried my car wouldn't start. When I went out for the first time, that was like the biggest shock, because it's like everything that was there was no longer there. The storm was just a small thing. It was just, but it was the aftermath that was just awful. It's not a nice sight. It looks very, very dark and sad. The winds had to be really, really strong to be able to do this. I mean, look at this. Wow. This storm had no mercy. Wow. It's like rows upon rows of trees down. Yeah, it's like a tree graveyard. Oh my God. Crazy. You could have filmed like a post-apocalyptic movie in the settings of Puerto Rico. Seeing what I call home, all destroyed, it was very shocking to me. We've been on like a constant survival mode. The entire island is just going crazy. I mean, where I live at least is a little bit under control, but I've heard from friends that, you know, around the island there's a lot of theft going on because of, you know, having absolutely no power, no water, barely any gas. We do have gas, but it's being distributed very lightly. You lose your humanity in a way because you have to survive. It's awful. I got to a point where I wanted to get out of that island, and that's a lot for me to say because I'm a person that's very attached to home. Puerto Rico was uninhabitable.
2 weeks after Hurricane Maria, Laura and her mum boarded one of the few flights out of Puerto Rico for Miami to stay with relatives. 200,000 residents followed her. 3 months after this catastrophe, over 1.5 million people were still without power and under severe water rations. The estimated clear-up bill is expected to hit $90 billion.
I have massive respect for Mother Nature now that I didn't before. You see all these storms on TV and on the internet, and you think like, oh, that's awful, but I don't think it'll ever happen to me. But this storm definitely taught me that it doesn't matter where you live in the world. You're never safe when it comes to Mother Nature.
Dallas, Texas, April 2016. It was late spring, signaling highly volatile weather. As Taniqua and David Williams and their kids were leaving home, they were stopped by a flustered delivery man.
He said, "Where are you guys going?" We said, "Oh, we're going to basketball practice." And he said, "No, you guys don't need to go anywhere. There's a major storm coming. You need to stay inside."
He said, "You got about 15 minutes. We've had hailstorms here before, so the state of mind that we were in was, okay, it'll just be another, hailstorm with, pea-sized hail.
It went from light to dark. So I went outside and I immediately ran back in because the hail was so huge. If it would have hit me in the head, I probably would have had a concussion and ended up in the hospital.
And it wasn't even baseball size. It was about this big.
Holy cow!
I think we went into shock first. After the shock, it was just straight panic.
Hail was coming from everywhere, and we were all just screaming. It was scary.
Holy cow! What is it?
This is a matter of life and death.
Y'all better get away from these windows! Holy cow! Get away from the window! Everybody come right here! Everybody come right here!
That's when it kind of got bad. The lights went out and the glass started cracking. Every window in the backside of our house was broken.
Oh, God! Jesus!
At that point, we knew we were in danger.
Thunderclouds boiling over a mind-blowing 50,000 feet, higher than most airliners fly, were generating supersized hail that was obliterating roof tiles, windows, and even trashing cars. Across town, paramedic Mike Ziem was home alone when the freakish storm hit.
I really thought it was going to be a typical thunderstorm. We're Texas. My big concern came when I started hearing huge baseball-sized objects hitting windows. The windows are blowing out. And there's windows obliterated. It is literally 360 degrees around you. That's crazy. This sound of rocks hitting your house, the sound is almost deafening. You think the house is going to start crumbling in on you. Look at the size of that monster. A rock the size of the stones that were falling here could easily kill somebody if they're struck in the head with this. You could have a serious head injury. These wind gusts are amazing. Holy cow.
By now, the hailstones were weighing up to 1.5 pounds and raining down at over 100 miles per hour. At the Williams house, it was like a battlefield.
It was literally hailing through the roof.
It sounded like bombs. Every time the hail, boom, boom, boom. Every time the hail hit, it was crazy.
Everybody get right here.
I was so nervous that we were about to lose everything. And so I was trying to keep everybody calm, but I was not calm inside. It was horrific.
I was petrified. I thought I was going to die.
When you have small children, you're supposed to be there to protect them from everything. I think the hailstorm lasted about 6 minutes.
It seemed like it took an eternity, like it took forever.
That day, our house was broken. It was destroyed. I was scared that I had lost the home that I grew up in. I was terrified that I may never get it back. I always remember that day because, it changed our lives.
The Dallas hailstorm wrecked the Williams house so extensively, they were forced to move out for 18 months. Incredibly, the repair bill topped $100,000, and not all was covered by insurance.
It's not something that's gonna go away ever. Like, every time I look at my house, I'm gonna always remember how it used to be. I'll never forget it.
It made me realize that the weather isn't something you should play with, isn't something you should take lightly. When I hear that there's a storm coming, I feel anxiety. I feel terrified that if the weather does turn bad, how would I be safe?
Hail is formed from tiny droplets that freeze into ice as they ascend in updrafts. Then, like lottery balls mixing in a tumbler, they collect more and more layers, until too heavy, they plummet to Earth. Not ideal if you're one of these motorists in Brisbane, bombarded by golf ball-sized missiles. But it still makes an entertaining spectacle for the people watching ringside. This is one bad time to get stuck in a jam. Large hailstones plummeting at up to 100 miles per hour and wrecking your car is stressful enough. But throw in 3 screaming toddlers and it's enough to send your blood pressure through the roof. To make matters worse, there's a long queue to leave school, so they all have to soak up the punishment. A shattered rear windscreen isn't helping the mood one bit.
Very brave. You went through something that not many people go through.
But Mum knows a magic trick that will restore happiness in an instant.
We're gonna get ice cream after this, okay? Okay, Nora? Yeah. All right? Yeah.
A winner every time. Camping can be a miserable experience at the best of times. But when large, lethal chunks of ice assault you, it's time to pack up and go home. The last thing this Dutch family are expecting in sunny Costa Brava, Spain, is this barrage from Mother Nature. Unfortunately, their rather flimsy tent is offering scant protection. And sure enough, the whole rickety structure soon comes crashing down. Camping. It ain't all it's cracked up to be. In Montana, US, these kids' fun day of inner tubing down the river is brought to an abrupt halt as they come under attack from the heavens. Being caught out in the open makes this iced onslaught particularly painful. In desperation, they cower under their inner tubes. Although it's a mystery why they don't just get into the school bus behind them.
I just went to the shop to get some dumplings, and then this happened.
Yes, this is Mother Nature's dumplings, but they are frozen rock-hard ice. Don't taste particularly nice and hurt real bad when they hit you. So best not run the gauntlet with a tiny brolly. This 2014 Brisbane hailstorm led to over 15,000 car claims and $1.3 million of damages, all from little balls of ice. The low-lying bay of Galveston in Texas is extremely vulnerable to big storms. And back in September 2008, a monster was brewing, Hurricane Ike. With a massive storm surge predicted, the dive support vessel, the Odyssey, chose to try and dodge Ike with the help of deckhand Joe Bussey.
The reason why I was on the boat during the hurricane is I'm the go-to guy, and there's nothing that I can't get done. And anytime they had an issue or trying to get a job done or whatever, they could call me, no matter if it's dirty, nasty. I don't complain.
I came in from LA last night and I'm currently in Galveston right now, and we're taking the boat up into Upper Bay Galveston, where we're going to try to keep the boat out of the hurricane's waves. So hopefully we can save this boat.
I was under the impression that we were gonna get out of the way. So we're getting there, and I'm thinking, well, when's this thing hitting? Oh, it's not till 12 hours. That we can go a long ways in 12 hours. All of a sudden, they're saying like, hey, can you help us with the anchors? And I'm like, why? Why are we stopping? We're just gonna throw a bunch of anchors out the front and batten down the hatches, and we'll be all right. I was like, Okay.
Looks all right, but we're gonna see what's gonna happen.
Hurricane Ike had tricked the Odyssey's skipper by weakening to a Category 3 storm. But at nightfall it had roared back up to Cat 4, and the Odyssey was a sitting duck.
That hurricane, it looked solid, and it had the size of the outskirts, almost the size of Texas. And I turn around and I see all the rain going sideways. This is scaring me.
I don't know if you can see it right now, but this is probably the brunt of the storm. Right here at the window. Whoa! Check it out.
And that's when I got my camera, because that's always in the back of my mind. I might die. How can I like take this camera and put it in a like Ziploc bag and float it? Why is he gone? Here's my message in a bottle. Wind is just pounding you like you're on a motorcycle doing 100 miles an hour. You get this one gush of wind and it tilts the boat like this, and it's the most this boat has ever been tilted. The scariest part, when things and objects that have been around this boat for many years were flipping over.
Thrown around.
Yeah, that was scary. All of a sudden, it all dissipated.
The Odyssey had survived the worst battering of her life. The sheer force of Hurricane Ike had dragged 1,000 pounds of deeply embedded anchors almost a mile. It also left self-confessed thrill-seeker Joel a little bit more circumspect.
I saw the devastation on Galveston Island. I saw how it tore everything up. And I was spared. If you don't respect it, it's gonna bite you in the ass.
Waves come in regular sets and are largely predictable beasts. But on the odd occasion, you can get a crafty one that's bigger and can take you by surprise. Welcome to the sneaker wave. In the crystal clear waters off Laguna Beach, California, this woman is soaking up her anniversary treat. But then, out of the blue, sneaky sneaker wave comes along and gives her a damn good dousing. Oh, yeah. A little bit further up the coast in Santa Barbara, these diners are having a whale of a time in Moby Dick Restaurant, watching the brooding sea while snacking on seafood.
Oh yeah, I've got a big second.
Then, out of nowhere, a monster rears up.
Oh, it's a big one. That's a big one. Oh, damn.
Oh my God.
Providing their surf and turf with an extra helping of surf. Still in California, this girl is doing her best mermaid on a rock impression. The key to this is to maintain your balance and pose seductively for the camera. But old Sneaker Wave is no romantic and dumps her unceremoniously onto the beach. Her audition for Splash sadly ending in a, splash.
Ha!
This sneaker wave is in fact a huge tidal bore running up an estuary. It's a spectacle that has got the crowds out in China. The only problem with these waves is they are immensely powerful, as this lot are about to find out. Apart from a good dunking, they were all right, but wetter and a little bit wiser. In this episode, we've seen Mother Nature vent all her power. We've seen how helpless we can be. We've seen her tear down, destroy, and laugh in our faces. And next time, there will be more. Because deadly weather stops for no one.